Hey everybody, it's Linda with Stamping School. I'm bringing back a technique that I did way back in 2010. I didn't start it. I don't know who originated it, but this card right here, which I wish I had the original for you to see. This card was made by my friend Lori Hobbs in Orlando. She had brought it to a swap to one of our events and I loved it. And you can't see really the detail on here, but I'm going to show you some other samples of it. It's called reverse spotlighting, and you can do it with punches or you can do it with dies, but it's kind of cool in that there are, like, you could do circles, squares, or shapes or whatever, but here's stamped and then this one happens to be solid behind it. So usually when people receive it, they kind of turn it like this and say, how'd they do that? It's kind of just a fun extra little thing. This one is really easy. This is done with punches. This is done with the daisy punch. I'll show you real quick how this one goes together, and then I'll do the autumn one. So the first thing you want to do is stamp a quarter piece of cardstock. This is just the daisies stamped in Bumblebee on white. And then you take either a punch, or in this case, I'm doing these 3 circle dies right here, and you just sort of line them up where you want to have your little holes cut out. If you have the circle punches, those are super easy. You can even do 3 different sizes and just punch, punch, punch. So why we don't have circle punches anymore with Stampin' Up!, I have no idea. I miss them so much, but I do have all my old ones. But this is easy too, because you can just run this through all at once. So once you have that, the little circles cut out, you can save those if you want to. And if you don't happen to have a punch like the daisy punch, you could actually fussy cut these out also and use those. But then you can just take some kind of coordinating piece of paper. You can do anything underneath it. You could even do a strong pattern underneath it. You'd be surprised, you know, how well that works once you get everything cut out. And then I punched out some extra daisies. So you're going to stamp and punch out some extras. And then it's just a matter of getting those back in here in the same place. So you just kind of move them around in there and glue them on the underside. And that's what gives it that look like this, that it's punched, but these little guys stick out. And that's reverse spotlighting. Now, true spotlighting is where you take these pieces right here and you layer them. So for instance, you would layer them with another color, or in this case, like gold, and you put them back where they belong. So there's a little bit of a scallop or a layer, and then they go back, and that's called regular spotlighting, and you'd have a nice big scallop around these and pop them up. So we're doing reverse spotlighting where we're going to put them back underneath. I hope that makes sense. Now you can also do solid, like this is a solid yellow, and that can go with white underneath it, and then you can do something like this, where you would put the little piece underneath it that's stamped, like that. Or you can do a solid daisy punched underneath it. Let me show you what that looks like. So if you lift that up and put that under there, you can see how that will line up. You have to trim that one off right there. And then you could do yellows and go very monochromatic, or put that pattern paper underneath it, which would be kind of fun too. You can see how that might be interesting. So lots of ways to do this. You can play around with all your punches, or we can do dies, which is what I'm going to do on this one. Now I have a quarter sheet of paper, and I did speckle it a little bit with some espresso ink. I just took my little water brush and some espresso ink and just splattered it, tapped it like that, and got a little splatter on there. I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz ink, and we're going to be using this stamp set that's in the annual catalog. I love this stamp set, Love of Leaves. It was popular last year. I believe it was in the mini catalog last year, and then it made it to the annual catalog. And there are coordinating dies that are stitched. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you 5 extra cards from last year using this bundle, which is not a bundle anymore, but the dies are there and the stamp set's there. But it's called Love of Leaves. So I like to start with my largest one first, and I'm going to stamp right here, and these are meant to be shaded like that, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to do one down here, I always start with the largest ones first so I don't run out of room. All right. This one, I did cinnamon here. I'm gonna try rust. I'm just going for a real bold fall look. A little bit of rust there. I'm gonna do a little bit of rust down here. And then this one is curry, crushed curry. Nope, this one's bumblebee. I'm wrong. This is bumblebee, which is almost like crushed curry. It's just a little less strong. All right, let's do this one this way, right here. Cover up my smudge. Okay, that's pretty the way it is, but we're gonna add some interest to it. Now these dies are cool because they have two pieces to them. So you can do just the outline like I did here, or you can stitch them and make them look like that. So if you put them together, when you run it through, okay, you're gonna put it on your piece of paper that you're running through, and I masking tape them together like this so that they don't move, and then I run those through. So I ran this through an old olive to make it a little bit darker than the pear, and then a little bit of bumblebee, and this one is the Cajun Craze. Almost called it really rust. If you've been around for a long time with Stampin' Up, you'll remember that one. So here's those three, which are so pretty. And you honestly could just overlay these and do something, but we're gonna put these holes in it. And you wanna do that after you've stamped. So just kind of choose where you want your circles to be. And in this case, it's really nice to use the dies because you can kind of play around with where you want those to be. So I kind of want here, here, and maybe up here, like that. Or I can do the small one here. That's what I want right there. If you happen to cut the circles first, can you see what happened? There's a little jump. So I cut these first, and now where I stamped, you can't really see. There's like a jump mark where it doesn't get inked very well. So stamp first, then punch or cut. Punching works fine. And you can save these if you want to, and you can fussy cut those out and use those instead, or use the back side for something else. I also thought there's a die that we have in the annual catalog with lots of circles in it. This is it right here. It's called Picture This. You can find it on page 164 right down here. Wouldn't that be fun to do some spotlighting with? Because it already has the stitched circles in there. Okay, now to figure out what to put underneath it. I could do that strong yellow. These are all from the Regals collection paper. I could do orange. That's a little too much. I could do, ooh, that's kind of interesting to do the Cajun Craze. Let's try that. I do like this yellow underneath it. So your piece of paper, whatever you put underneath it, should be the same size as this one, or you could do a little layer, I suppose. That would be fine too. But you just want enough to stick back here. You could even just cut larger circles and just glue them back there if you want to. So here's my pieces that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna need a little bit of this yellow right here, and I don't even have to use the whole thing. I can cut it in half and just use half now and half later. I really just need to make sure I have this top part right here. I'm gonna put a little bit of blue on the back side here, right here, right here. And I like to lay it down like this and then kind of hold this over and look at it just to make sure. And just line it up right there. Trim off my excess. I don't even have to do this one. I totally missed that. This is the biggest one right down here, right there. So I'm gonna save these two, put some glue back here. Yeah. Put some glue right back here on the bottom, and then line these up. And they're easy to line up because they match the stamped images, so it's pretty easy to do. I can't believe I didn't get enough there. I might just add the little tip of that just to, because I want a little bit of that pretty color in there. Just a wee bit. And then this piece is left over from this one. So I'm just gonna add it back here, and we'll just add this pretty stitched one right there. There we go. Now when you add it with something behind it, it really pops the color. So we can choose what colors we want to put back there. What do you think? Which one? Yellow or the Cajun Craze? I'm gonna go yellow. I wish you could vote. I should do it live, I suppose, one day. I make too many mistakes to do it live. The beauty of editing. All right, lots of glue so that the card never falls apart and they see what it looks like behind there. Put those two together. It's so pretty. And then that will go on an espresso card. So I added, before I put this on, I added this little piece of espresso. It's very like a suede ribbon that Stampin' Up! Has. It's very pretty. That just goes around. And then I tied on a little bit of gold cord just so it wouldn't be so bulky, and add a little bit of gold right on here. And my banner, I Thought of You Today, which is in that stamp set too. I really like this. I'm glad I pulled it back out. I kind of forgot about it because it was last year, even though it's still available. But I thought of you today. I'm so glad you're in my life. Your friendship is something I know I can count on. Hope changes everything. It's just nice. It's a really nice stamp set. Now, I'll show you a few other cards using this. I think I have 5 samples from last year. This one is from my friend Janet Munden. So she did that around the block, kind of with this 1-inch strips with that, and she just stamped the leaf and put that on the inside. This is from Stephanie Briggs. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, the dies have this really pretty stitched element in there too. She did some copper. Such a pretty, pretty card. I don't know who did this one. There's no name on it. Ugh. Somebody wonderful must have given me this one. It's a swap. There's nothing written on the inside. Don't know who did this one, but I love it. So it's really pretty with the blackberry and the plaid paper that we had last year. See the stitching? And this is one that I did. It was a shaker card last year with the little shakers in there and some plaid paper and some gold. Pretty with peacock. And I did this one also with it, which I really like. So just using the stitched opening there and the plaid paper behind it and a couple little acorns that are hanging there. I'll try to link to those videos in the description on YouTube. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I hope you give the reverse spotlighting a try. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.